returning from Switzerland back to Frankfurt, I took some days to settle back in and make myself feel comfortable again. But strangely, I still had this pain on my chest, which didn't seem to disappear. After a few days, I decided to go to the doctor, but since it was weekend, I said I'm gonna wait until Monday and then check where this pain was coming from. But the following day on Sunday, the pain was so strong that I literally couldn't move anymore. I couldn't breathe in deeply, so I decided to go to the emergency, no matter how long it would take for the doctors to find out what I have. I took an Uber and headed straight to the clinic. So when I arrived at the clinic, I recognized an old friend of mine that worked as an assistant. He took me in right away because it could have taken longer. He brought me to the doctors and said that they should take good care of me and try to find an answer for my pain. And I really think if he wouldn't have been there in that moment, the people at the reception wouldn't have taken me seriously. The doctors in the emergency did everything to try to find out what the reason and the cause of my pain was. But since in the emergency there's so much chaos, people coming in, people going out, everything took a bit longer, and they asked me to be patient. After 3-4 hours checking my blood, checking my heart rate and doing x-rays, they still didn't have any results. But one thing that was bothering them was the high infection rate, which showed that something was going on in my body that didn't seem normal. As I was lying there, I was asking myself how it could come this far, if it was the infection and the flu I had in Switzerland, or if this was caused by something completely different. I remember coming to the emergency around 3:30, 4 p.m., and by now it was 1 o'clock in the night.
10 hours later and I'm still here, guys. Came at 4. Been in the ambulance in the emergency room for 11 hours now. Actually, they told me that I can go, but they just did a CT, checking up on my last results, and then we'll see. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Could actually sleep here now instead of going home. Guys, take care of your health and your body, and your mind, spirit, and soul. Guys, I don't really know what to say. So about 20 minutes ago, the doctor came in one more time after my CT, and I was already thinking about releasing myself out of the hospital. But something is telling me constantly that something is not right. So the doctor came and she said, we finally found something. And of course I was happy, or I am happy on one side, to finally know what is wrong with me and why I can't breathe and why my immune system is so weak. So what they found is that I have a blood clot in my lungs, which could have been really dangerous. I don't want to talk about what could have happened, but they all looked at me and said that you're walking around, that you're sitting here. This is not that normal. And then I asked how this could come up. How do you get something like this? Especially in my age, doing a lot of sports. And they said you must have had a thrombosis in your legs lately. And I can promise I never had something in my whole life. I never had a swollen leg during a flight, after a flight. So I never had a problem with thrombosis. And they say that's the only way this blood clot could move from your leg or through your body into your lung. The problem is if it moves on further, it can have bad consequences. So right now I'm just thankful for my patients and for the doctors trying to find a solution and finally finding a result. So I'm gonna definitely stay here for the night see what happens tomorrow. But I actually think I have to stay here more than a night. Might have to stay for 3-4 days. Guys, this is a game changer for me. You've seen my past, and you've seen my determination where I want to go. This is not gonna stop me. It's just gonna push me more. Okay guys, gotta find some rest now.
The night was short, but I was happy to finally find some sleep.
So guys, second day, I'm still here. They didn't let me go. Still need some checkups. And still gotta see how my blood pressure, my blood circulation, and all these things are working out. Because I have to take blood thinners now to help my blood rush and my blood circulation going better and smoothly, to get that blood clot out of my lungs, guys. It's crazy. So I'm on a new station here. It's more quiet. I'm not in the ambulance anymore. So, gonna get some rest. Tomorrow's a new day. I'm so appreciative. I'm so lucky. Guys, wow.
Finally, they moved me from the emergency to a different room where I had a bit more quietness and a bit more peace for myself. Of course, I was constantly thinking about how it got this far and what caused this whole thing. Looking back at the time in Switzerland, I actually thought I had taken enough time to recover because I mainly had body aches, no cough, no fever, and no signs of this being the end result. And honestly, it didn't really make sense.
Oh, hey guys. Another day, another life. Fuck the dollars. Health and being alive is more important. So this has been my second full day. It's Tuesday now, even though I came on Sunday and stayed in the emergency room the whole day until they packed me over here. But this is only like a transit station. So the doctor that came in today said they might release me already. The thing is, I don't really know if it's because they don't have enough beds or the helpers are not enough, because the whole medical system in Germany is failing more and more. And I don't want to complain because I'm happy to have it at all. And the German medical system used to be one of the best. Guys, give me a second. Yeah, but since a few years, things have just changed. They don't have enough helpers, assistants, and doctors also leave the country because the payment and the whole situation is just frustrating. And when I was younger, a few years ago, I judged everybody for everything, like doctors and the assistants. But I noticed now, especially when I was in the emergency room for like 10 hours, that we're all sitting in the same boat, because all of them are just suffering from this fucked up system. Doctors don't have time for a single patient. The assistants are not enough, so they have to do overtime. They have to work overtime. So of course, being a patient in a hospital today is a very different situation than a few years ago, because nobody has time for you. Nobody cares. People are frustrated and you just feel it. So you as a patient that actually just wants to be treated and get well, you'll be frustrated as well. So your mood changes. And these people start complaining with the helpers and the assistants. I've heard crazy things. I heard people saying things to helpers and assisting doctors that are just not, they're just not okay, without any respect. And then I understand that these people, there's a certain point where they quit, where they say, you know what? We're getting less support. People are treating us like shit. I'll find a different job. And that's how the hamster wheel keeps on going. And it was maybe good for me to get this insight because I always judged not only the system, doctors and nurses and assistant doctors working, I judged them as well. Even though there are a lot of shitty people, I have to say. Some people, I don't know how they came up with the idea of working in a hospital with no emotionality, no empathy. They're just completely at the wrong place, honestly. But it is what it is. I still got quite a lot of pain in my chest, but it's better than the first day. And I'm still thankful. And first of all, I am very thankful that I know my body so well. So the pain I had on Saturday was already quite enormous. And Sunday, something told me this is not normal. Because normally I'm very stubborn. I don't like to go to the doctor because of every little thing. People today, they go to the doctor because of a nosebleed or the nose is running. And then they want medicine for every little shit and ask themselves why the immune system isn't strong enough to fight with a small flu. Well, if you take tablets for every little thing, you don't have to be shocked. And I think I'm on the completely other side of that, which I also have to change because sometimes it's necessary to go to doctors to take some medicine. I'm always trying to take the least amount of chemicals and medicine I can take. But I also know that sometimes it just has to be. But maybe that's also the reason why I don't like to go to doctors, is I'm always scared that I get bad news and it's something really, really heavy. So what they said is that I had a blood clot in my lung, which caused the pain and my whole blood couldn't circulate well. You also call it lung embolia. And I thought it's connected to my flu I had 1 or 2 weeks ago when I was in Switzerland. And I'm still looking for the connection because that's when it started. That's when I had the pain in my chest for the first time. But the doctors insisted on that it has to do with thrombosis. So they asked me, have you been traveling a lot in the last 2-3 weeks? Especially like a long distance flight. And I said, no. I traveled to Egypt end of last year, which is a 4.5 hour flight back and forth. The doctor said, no, that's too long ago, can't be it. Then I said, well, a friend of mine picked me up. We drove to Switzerland, 4.5 hours. Can't be that. And I told him I have never had thrombosis in my life. I never had a swollen leg. I do a lot of sports and this is nothing usual for my age. And he said, I agree. But it's not normal because it normally starts with a thrombosis, then your blood clots somewhere in your veins and just travels up your body until it reaches your lung. And what can happen then, I don't even want to talk about. It's not about what if and what could have. I'm just happy I went early enough, found it, and I don't have to be operated, first of all. And I have to say, in the moment they told me, I was in a state of shock. I took it okay, I took it well, because I was happy that they found out. Of course, my first thought was like, what the fuck would have happened if I wouldn't have come to the emergency and maybe waited until Monday or even a day longer? I don't know, but it took quite a while for me to digest. And then I remembered that when I came into hospital, the first person I saw was an old friend of mine, or a mutual friend of another friend of mine who works here, and which I completely forgot. So when he saw me entering, he's like, bro, what's wrong? I said, I can't breathe, I have pain on my chest. And if he wouldn't have taken me, he's an assistant here, doctor's assistant. If he wouldn't have taken me in directly to check my blood and also give all the doctors information that they should take good care of me and everything. I promise I would have gone to the information desk or to the registration center. They would have asked me what I have, especially because I came by myself. You know, you have a guy, he's still walking, but he's complaining, he has pain on his chest. And I had these situations quite often where people just don't take me serious. And when I don't feel well, I don't fight for myself. I'm somebody I always fight for what is right. I fight for other people more than I fight for myself. But when I'm weak and I feel bad, I can't. I mostly just turn around and say, you know what? Fuck all of you. And go and leave. And if this would have happened, they would have sent me back home. They would have done some strange checkups maybe. Tell me, no, this is just a nerve. Or you slept strange. And they would have sent me back home. So meeting my friend Hssl here, I don't want to say saved my life, but it was definitely no coincidence. He said the same thing, because through his help and his advice to the doctors, they took a lot of care and they really dig deep. I remember one of the doctors came like every hour telling me, thank you for being so patient, because I tell you one thing, being in the emergency room, this is chaos, guys. What you see there, people coming in and out, people screaming. I don't want to say people dying. I don't know what's happening around me. And I was just quiet and trying to find a way to be comfortable. But there are also people very impatient. People screaming at the doctors, why am I waiting so long? I have been here for 3 hours. All in all, I was there 10 hours on a small little bed with a bit of water, small blanket, trying to make myself feel comfortable. And I just was patient because I came to get a result. So the whole situation, how it went on Sunday when I came, Hssl helping me, Hssl registering me, and at the end the doctors finding what the reason is. I'm very thankful. I don't want to talk about any negative stuff and put negative energy out. Especially that's not my intention in this video. I'm super lucky. Gotta bring that word back. I came up with this word I think like a few years ago. Because I don't believe in luck. I don't think people get lucky. Because luck seems like something that is outside of your own control. You know what I mean? I don't think things happen without a reason to us. We always take responsibility for things. When good things happen in our life, it's like, yeah, it's me, I caused this. I'm in alignment with the universe. And when bad things happen, we're like, oh, why is the life treating me like this? And I'm such a victim. And you know, that's not how it works. Everything has to do with your mindset, the way you think, the things you attract, the way you live, the way you speak. That's why I believe in luck. So I'm lucky, because it means you're blessed and lucky at the same time. That's why I know I was super lucky in this whole situation. And now I am here on this transitional station. Was here with 2 other guys. One left yesterday. The other one left maybe like half an hour ago, so I'm all by my little self. Yeah.